Galileo Galilei said, measure what it is measurable and make measurable what it is not so. Nikola Tesla said, today's scientists have substituted mathematics for experiments, and they wander off through the equation after equation and eventually build a structure which has no relation to reality. Hello, I am Juan Navarro. This is Advanced Quality Programs, and I invite you to explore the quality philosophies to apply them to our lives. Today, we will try to understand what we meant by searching for the main causes of the problem and the difference with the previous step. To summarize this step in one word, we can call it analysis. And let me tell you, this is where the magic really happens. Our goal is, beyond this step, investigate the causes for the problem to confirm our theories based on the experience. And we will generate a series of hypotheses about possible causes and check their direct influence on the system based on facts and figures, discarding all theories that we find to have no direct influence with the effect. Not forgetting to record all results, again, basing all in facts and figures. As may you remember from the last edition, we talked about using the 5 why methodology to create an hypothesis about a root cause. But our assumption now needs to have some groundwork. And here is where if someone tells you that they have some data, they need to provide that to you. They will be really helpful. At this point, we had also managed to define our problem, and we already know some characteristics that we had collected information on the story and symptoms. Therefore, experimenting now will be very easy because we will only focus on testing the possible causes and try to control the environment by rolling out all the systems and side effects. There are many tools that we can use on this step, both to plan the experiment and to document our findings. Ishikawa's, fault trees, FMEA's, statistical process control documents or cards. We will talk about them deeper in detail in further editions, but my main goal today is that we understand that experimentation, data collection, recording of our findings and conclusions must be done on a systematic, repeatable and confirmable way, regardless of the tool or system we choose to use. When I used to work in the automotive industry, our main goal using the Six Sigma methodology was to understand the problem in such a way that if we wanted to see again the effect, we could reproduce it as many times as necessary. That way, we could make sure that we understood the root cause by making the effect appear or disappear, like a magician. We will talk about design of experiments and statistic control tools in further editions, but today I will provide you with 2 tools that are really necessary for all others to work. And if you manage to successfully apply them, all the rest will be extremely easy for you. The first tool are the concepts of repeatability and reproducibility. For any experiment to work successfully, our target must be to make it measurable and must always use the same reference system, so that every time we decide to run a test, we will get our results that we can compare. Or as they say, compare apples to apples. First, to define a scale of reference. You can use a universal system like meters, kilos, minutes, voltage, degrees. Or if your object is more abstract, try to define a scale that you can call back and back again. For example, how happy are you feeling right now in the scale from 1 to 10? And if you try to make it more specific, it will be better. Like, so 10 being extremely happy, 9 happy, a glad, cheerful, and so on. The more specific, the better. This is where we come across with the concept of repetibility. Repetibility is the closeness of alignment between the results of successive measurements of the same object when carried out under the same conditions. To understand this concept, try to imagine Galileo throwing stones from the Tower of Pisa. What made his experiment repeatable, regardless of how many times what objects he threw, the reference system he used time and time again was height, weight, and the results were consistent with what he defined as a system. Now, the story says that Isaac Newton discovered the universal law of gravitation while he was sitting under a tree as he was reading, and one apple fell off the tree, hitting his head. The reality is that the difference between Galileo's theories and Newton's law, in addition to the historical circumstances, was the ability to demonstrate the same concept under different conditions. Isaac Newton was not only capable to repeat Galileo's experiments, but was also able to reproduce them and mathematically demonstrate these basic principles of the modern physics, which lead us to define reproducibility. Reproducibility is the ability to implement as exactly as possible the experimental procedures with the same data and tools to obtain the same results. And just as modern physics depended on Galileo's theories and Newton's demonstrations to move from a theory to a law, the path of quality will depend on the repeatability and reproducibility of our findings to achieve a successful improvement. In today's engineering, we use concepts such as equipment calibration, testing devices, and so on to confirm results. But without going too far, once I define my experiment and my measurement system, I must be able to repeat the same observation over and over again. Once at this position, I must be able to give the instructions and instruments to somebody else to perform the same experiment, and once again, he will be able to get the same results under the same circumstances. Same as the historical reference, anyone should be able to reproduce Galileo's experiment today without traveling to Pisa. The second basic tool you need to understand as a cornerstone is much easier once you understand the previous concept, and this is the confirmation. The confirmation is defined as the validation or proof of existence, veracity or accuracy of an event or effect. For this purpose, try the following question. How do I explain the it is and the it is not based on the knowledge or experience you have gained after understanding all variables in your system? Make a list of all contrasts between the it is and the it is not. Note what has changed in, about, near the object. Every difference you are able to identify will bring you closer to the confirmation and to explain how these differences and changes may have caused problems. And let me take you one step ahead to the next edition to verify the cause to avoid an unnecessary arrangement using the following references. Facts. How can we verify the root cause based on facts? 2. Note, observation. How can we recognize the behavior of the root cause? 3. Research. How can we rehearse the root cause? Try it again. And 4. Results. How can we generate or prevent the effect through the root cause? A piece of advice. Experimenting is a lot of fun. Help us to understand the world in a deeper way. The more we are experimenting and the more we understand, this becomes an immensely powerful tool in our arsenal of problem solving and personal growth. Remember that to perform experiments, you need to make sure that you are doing it in a controlled way without damaging your system the way you cannot go back. So before you move something, you cannot return to its previous original state. Make sure that is reversible. And one more recommendation in a tone of a warning. Today's many people out there is calling themselves coach or life coach. Remember that if you're going to try something in a personal area, you must approach the people involved first and clearly tell them what you're trying to investigate. Think that it is not okay to experiment something on others without having their approval or permission. Material damage may be costly and repairable, but personal damage and relationships may not come back. So make sure that if someone recommends you trying something, they have applied that themselves and was successful. And then encourage them to apply them to you. This week I challenge you to experience removing your root cause and in reintroducing it to your system. Remember to write down all your findings and keep them there until next week to keep moving forward on the path of quality. This was all for this edition. If you enjoyed the video, hit like, and I will thank all of your comments and your subscription to the channel. I will leave you with one quote from Miguel Angel Buonarroti. I saw the angel in the marble and carved it until I set him free. See you next week, and don't forget to hit the bell.